torque of a dipole in electric field. Before that, we are pending with another topic, that is what is the electric field of a dipole in equatorial line. In my previous class I already derived E equatorial is nothing but Kp by Rq, but I have not mentioned the direction of it. So let us continue from that. I show you this is the direction of the net electric field. But what is the direction of the dipole moment vector? It is always directed from negative charge to positive charge. See, this is your negative charge, this is positive charge. So what is the direction of the dipole moment vector? It is from right towards left. Whereas your electric field direction is from left towards right. So as they are both opposite to each other, hence your E equatorial equal to minus of Kp by Rq. Clear? So if you note it down in my last class video, then just mention the minus, and why you are mentioning minus also make a note of it, because the dipole moment vector and the net resultant of electric field is in opposite direction. And coming to relationship between what is the electric field in axial line and equatorial line due to the dipole is nothing but, you can see E axial is nothing but 2 Kp by Rq, whereas in case of E, in the case of equatorial, that is electric field in your equatorial is nothing but it is Kp by Rq, minus Kp by Rq. So the relationship is nothing but your E axial is always double the magnitude of the E equatorial. Clear? Now let us see the second important concept, that is torque of a dipole. So I hope you remember the concept of torque. In 11th physics you have studied the concept of couple. Two equal and opposite forces constitute a couple. From the couple you are getting the concept of torque. Torque is nothing but it is the product of force and the perpendicular distance. Clear? So in the case of couple, you remember your steering of the car. When you turn anything, any side, at that time you find how much your right hand turn, equally your left hand turn back side. So net force effect you can find 0. But turning effect you are finding or not? You are able to turn your vehicle either left or right or not, according to your change of direction of your steering. Similarly, while you are opening the cap of a bottle, opening the cap of a pen, or opening the water tap, these are the examples of the torque, example of the couple. And where you are finding torque? When you are opening the door. That case you are finding the torque. So here similarly we are going to find the torque of a dipole. So what you are going to do? Take a dipole. Dipole is nothing but two equal and opposite charges. So take a two equal and opposite charges, let it be minus Q, let it be plus Q, and place it in a electric field. These are all nothing but uniform electric field. These are nothing but your uniform electric field. So when you keep your dipole in a uniform electric field, let it making angle theta. Why? Because when you see what is the force experience here, F equal to QE, that is equal to minus Q. Here F equal to plus Q. If you see in terms of magnitude, both is equal and opposite. So the net effect of the forces will be 0, but torque exists. Clear? So your torque, what is the definition I told? Torque equal to, it is the product of force into perpendicular distance. Fine. So F into, what is perpendicular distance? You know already. The distance between the two charges of a dipole is nothing but 2a. If it is making angle theta, now resolve the vector. What you will find? One will be the vertical component, other will be a horizontal component. We want perpendicular distance, this distance which is making 90-degree angle. So if a force is like this, if it is making angle theta, then vertical component will be F sin theta. Clear? Similarly, it is your F is QE. So how, what is your, this vector is nothing but your F sin theta, that is nothing but your, here it is 2a. So this is 2a sin theta. Clear? So now you can replace it 2a sin theta. this distance. So 2a sin theta. Now what is f is nothing but QE. So replace your f by QE. So QE 2a sin theta. Can I write it like it? 2QA E sin theta. Now tell me what is 2QA? It is nothing but dipole moment vector. So substitute it by the notation P. So P E sin theta. What is AB sin theta formula? A cross B. It is the cross product or vector product. So P vector cross E vector. Clear? So what you are considering from this? Torque is nothing but it is the cross product of P and E. That is dipole moment vector and electric field. Now from here one important concept is that when it is getting the product of P sin theta, sin when it will be 0, when theta will be 0 or theta will be 180 degree. So when theta equal to 0 or theta equal to 180 degree, what will happen? Your torque will becomes a 0. Torque will become 0. But the force, will it be 0 at that time? No. Force will not be 0. Then what will happen? If your P and E both are in the same direction, means your angle is 0. At that time, your force will be in the direction of increasing E, electric field. And when your theta is, this is the case, first case when theta is 0, means they are parallel. When theta is 180 degree, that time the dipole moment vector and electric field, we can say they are anti-parallel. So when they are anti-parallel, the force will be in the decreasing direction of the electric field. I hope it's clear. But they usually not ask this deep. This is for JEE or NEET students. It is enough for you. What is torque is nothing but P cross E or PE sin theta. Clear? Now let us see the next important concept, that is types of charge distribution. Let us see, make the heading charge distribution. Charge distribution. Now when you are going to see the charge distribution, here we are talking about the continuous charge distribution, not the discrete charge distribution. So hence make your heading as continuous charge distribution. So whenever there is continuous charge distribution, or even you can assume that charges are uniformly distributed, there are three possibilities. Either you can take a wire. If you are taking a wire, the charges will be uniformly distributed. Like this is nothing but your wire. So when the charges are distributed uniformly on a wire, then this is called as linear charge distribution. If you are taking a flat surface like this, imagine this is nothing but a flat surface you are taking. So if the charges are distributed on this surface, it is called as surface charge distribution. If you are taking a object like this, which is having the both length, breadth, width, everything, solid surface, if that charge distribution is called as volume charge distribution. So according to that, it is called as linear charge density, surface charge density and volume charge density. So what is linear charge density? Notation is lambda. Surface charge density is sigma. This is rho. Volume charge density, what it is called as linear charge density. This is surface charge density. Rho it is called as volume charge density. Density you know always. If you say no, this is highly densely populated area. Densely means number of people living in that area or number of people living per square meter of area is more. Then you say that highly populated or densely populated. Similarly, density is what is the number of, here we are talking about the charge. So hence, how much amount of charge is distributed per unit length, that is called as linear charge distribution. So what I will write for lambda, it is dq by dl. Similarly, surface charge distribution, dq by dA or dq by ds. Same, A is area, A is also surface area. Both is area. Notations differ in some books. That's what I mentioned, both. Now coming to volume. So what I'll write here? It is the charge distributed per unit volume, dq by dV. Now coming to unit dq by dl. So what will be the unit? Charge unit is coulomb. Length is meter. So coulomb per meter. Here it is coulomb per meter square. Here it is coulomb per meter cube. Over. So simple. Now let us see very important concept in your electrostatic field called as Gauss law. Make the heading Gauss law or Gaussian law. What is this? Gauss law states that is nothing but the net flux enclosed by a closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the charge enclosed. Or what I will write? The total flux enclosed by a closed surface equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the charge enclosed. The total flux enclosed by a closed surface equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the charge enclosed. So the total flux phi net equal to 1 by epsilon naught times Q enclosed. This is nothing but your statement of Gauss. Now let us see the small derivation related to it. Imagine that this is a sphere and there is a point charge Q is enclosed at its center, which is nothing but at a distance r left with the point P. We want to find out what is the electric field at this point due to this charge. It is very easy by using the Gauss law. Now see, what we know, your flux earlier is nothing but it is E dot A, or you called it as EA cos theta, and when your theta is 0, cos theta becomes 1, so phi equal to EA. Yes or no, you have studied this. Now what is your electric field formula? E equal to KQ by R square n cap. What is the area? Area is nothing but your surface area. It is 4 pi r square. Clear? So now substitute it. What you will find? Your phi equal to E value is KQ by r square. Area is 4 pi r square. So r square get cancelled. K value. What is the value of K? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So write it 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q into 4 pi. 4 pi get cancelled. So what is remaining now? Q by epsilon. Why? Because you want to find out at this point P. So in physics, you know, for anything they want to find out, they will take some elemental area or elemental length or elemental volume. So here they are taking that elemental area here. This surface area only, S. Or you can call it as a ds or dA. ds or dA. Okay. So whenever you are going for doing for whole body, you have to do the total integration, and total integration over this area is 4 pi r square. Directly I have substituted. Clear? So hence your net phi flux is closed Q by epsilon naught. There are lot significance to the Gaussian law. Let us see one by one what it is. So make the heading the significance of Gauss law. Significance or importance. Significance of Gauss law. See, the importance first is, irrespective of the shape and size, your Gauss law is applicable to all the closed surface. Don't think that it will be only applicable to certain specific closed surface. It is applicable to all varieties of closed surface irrespective of its shape and size. That is your first point. What it is? Irrespective of shape and size, Gauss law is applicable. That is the first important thing. Second is that told your phi is nothing but 1 by epsilon q enclosed. What do you mean by q enclosed? Means whatever the surface area you are considering, how much charge is inside it, that is only enclosed. If I kept 1 coulomb or 2 coulomb or any q1 q2 charge outside, that is not q enclosed. So the charges which is inside that surface alone should be considered as q enclosed. Or if there are more number of charges inside that body q1, q2, q3, then you need to add it, net charge. That is only q enclosed. So q enclosed is nothing but total charge inside. Very clear about it? Third, whenever you are considering any area for application of Gauss law, then that is called as Gaussian surface. What it is called as? Gaussian surface. And this Gaussian surface, whenever you are considering, you should consider about continuous charge distribution. Never consider the discrete charge distribution. Fine. So this is applicable only for continuous charge distribution. Fifth point that is highly important is that same electric field which you are finding earlier by using the formula E equal to kq by r square n cap. Now by applying the Gauss law, it's very easy to find out, provided your size of the body should be symmetrical. I hope you know the meaning of symmetry. Imagine your rectangle or square or circle. If you fold it from the center, what you find? The folding part is just the mirror image of the another part. That is nothing but the concept of symmetry. So it's very easy to find electric field for a system of symmetry. Very easy to find electric field for a system of symmetry. If it is unsymmetrical, then it's a bit tedious. Otherwise, it's very easy and fast by using the Gauss law. Okay. So these are the important concepts. In my next video, I will derive application of Gauss law, which is very, very important for all the board exams. And that formulas too for numerical as well as for JEE and NEET purpose. That we are going to find out what is the electric field due to the linear charge density, surface charge density and volume charge density. We are going to find out the electric field by the using the Gauss law. Okay students, take care. Bye bye.